This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
Wouldn't it be nice if we were older, then we wouldn't have to wait so long? And
Hey, and welcome back to the show. You are listening to CL 650 Boomer Life. I'm Zach Spencer, and today we're talking about Canada's #1 medical alert service, PhilipsLifeline, and how you can integrate it into your life or a member of your family. Our guests today are from PhilipsLifeline Canada, Jeanette Chouinard. From Delta is Veronica Lynch, and Reg Russell is one of the installers, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Delta Lifeline program. And Veronica, how does this work in the Delta area?
How it works is Delta Lifeline is owned and operated by the Delta Hospital Auxiliary, and they just have to contact us through the hospital. And we interview them. We send out a volunteer like Reg, who will sit and do a complete personal medical history on them and contact information for the subscriber. He brings the information back to us in the office. We send it all to Philips Lifeline in Toronto, and we give them the machine and the buttons that they require, and then Reg does the install.
Are most single, or do you get couples with this?
We get a lot of couples.
Yeah.
We get a lot of couples as well.
Now, Reg, when you go to someone's home and you install this service for the first time, it's a bit of hand-holding, getting them used to the system. So how does the actual pendant or the bracelet work?
Well, there's a base unit, which like a speakerphone, and you have a button whether around your wrist or around your neck, and if you fall or if you need any help at all, you press your button, and through the communicator, it calls Lifeline, and they in turn come on there and ask you, how can we help? And you can determine through talking to the Lifeline just what we need, whether we need a neighbor to come over or a family member, or if we need the EMS to come out right away.
So can the person that's answering the call phone the neighbor for them?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay.
And conference on also.
Really?
But if the person is unconscious, then we have a set which we organize when we first interview the customer. What should we do? We ask the customer what's best, whether to call EMS right away or
so these are the
neighbor.
things you established before.
On the interview,
Right.
we go through this, and it takes roughly about an hour by the time we've got everything down right the way the customer wants it.
Okay, so in the case now, with your experience, all three of you, somebody leaving their home and having to move out of their house, is it because of a fall? Falls are really detrimental, right? Breaking a hip.
The
or all
worst
these,
thing is
the
to
worst
be on
thing.
the ground. Yeah.
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 So when somebody falls and maybe they're not conscious, how does the system know that? Like what's going on there? What technologies at work that know that they've fallen over?
Well, we have a button you would wear around your neck, pardon me, that senses your movement.
Okay.
It's on all the time, and it senses if you're walking, if you sit down in the Chesterfield, if you lay down, if you lay down to bed, or if you were to fall or become, if you had a blackout and you were to fall, it senses that, and at that time, after 30 seconds, if you were still on the floor, it would automatically call Lifeline for help.
So the difference between lying down on bed is different than falling over. It's a different sense, right? It senses it's a faster movement.
Yes.
So that's how it knows.
Yeah, it knows pretty well the quickness of the movement and the abrupt stop. So if you were to trip and then get up again, it would sense that also. It gives you 30 seconds, and then automatically. And if a Lifeline then would come on the communicator and ask, "Can we help you?" And if they can't hear anything, then we would automatically call EMS.
Right.
Plus, we call the family afterwards also and let them know that mom or dad has called for help.
So the fall is the biggest worry.
Right.
Right. And people don't, I guess you're going to fall. You can't really stop that all times, but at least you know that's, and you must have had stories where people get this after they've had a fall, right? Is that the #1 reason why they get Lifeline?
Usually. And it's really kind of a shame because a lot of people in their 80s have got to know they're reaching that point where they are a little bit more susceptible to tripping or to falling or just an accident in the home. Your brain says, oh, let's rush over here and do that, but your body says you can't move that fast anymore. And that's usually when you'll trip or fall, as I've done myself a few times.
And yeah, unfortunately too, some people that don't have the service will have a fall and not able to get up and remain there for 2 to 3 days on
Really?
the floor. So they get admitted to hospital. They never come home again. You
Right.
know, and one of those third of those people will go into long-term care facilities.
Now, Veronica, you went through this with your mom, as you mentioned. She's in New Westminster, and you had to, sort of talk her into it. So what's your advice for anybody listening who maybe has an elderly parent? Like, how do you stick handle that? You mentioned maybe do it for us, not for you. A little bit of guilt doesn't hurt. Like, you must say, don't get to that point where you're lying on the kitchen floor for a day until someone finds you. Do it now. But there's always resistance there. But getting to that point must also be gratifying.
Well, it is, and I just encourage people, just say don't give up. Just get your brothers and sisters on board. Get anybody else on board that can reiterate everything you're telling them. And a lot of older people, it's about the cost.
Right.
And really, like in Delta, for a basic button-in unit is only $35 a month. So I said to the kids, each of you chip in if you have to, and pay for it. And 9 times out of 10, once Mom and Dad don't have to pay for it, they're all over it like a bad rat.
Right.
Well, now, Reg, you told me before that you used to work for TELUS for a long time, and TELUS, I think a basic telephone line is $35 a month. I know I get my bill every month around that price, so it's not too much different than having a telephone line.
Well, it's of course over and above a telephone line.
Yes,
but,
I understand that, but
yeah.
it's not too
It's
onerous.
it's not a big deal. But getting back to the family, I had one time where it was almost like an intervention. We had the 4 kids, and me. We were this on Dad, and we were all trying to be very nice. And it took, I bet you, over half an hour to convince Dad that he needed life.
Was it because he was stubborn or
He
the
was
cost
stubborn.
thing? Yeah.
I'm not that old, and well, the cost came into it too.
Yeah.
So that's with the older people. But no, it was. I'm not that old. I'm not that frail.
Well, my dad is 83, and he lives in a 4-story house. And guess where his bedroom is? It's on the top floor.
Yeah.
And he goes up those stairs, and he's had a hip replaced, and his mobility is not good. Like, I mean, it's not okay. It's not good at all. And he's stubborn. I said, sell this house, get an apartment, be on one floor with an elevator to the parkade, right? No. So I know the stubborn.
They can be very stubborn. And usually, not usually, but quite often, if it's the kids saying it's for us, that gives them the reason for saying, okay, I'm doing it for the kids. It's not me. I'm not old and frail. I'm doing this to keep the kids happy, which they are too, of course. But it's that kind of a hook that gets them off.
So how did you get involved with Philips Lifeline?
Well, I read there was an advert that they needed volunteers, and I wanted something to do, and I was in the medical system for a while there one time in my life, and I wanted to give back. So I thought, well, this would be a perfect fit for me, being an ex-telephone employee, and I love the fact of you're meeting people and interacting all the time rather than. Well, I love
Staying home
gardening,
and
too.
watching TV
Yeah,
all day,
you know,
right?
like
So what's the favorite part? Is that just getting to meet new people?
that's the favorite part. That's the really good part. There's really, well, everybody's got a story, as you know.
Yeah.
But you get in there and you get with the veterans, which
Sure.
is, I mean, most people we deal with are older,
Yeah.
and so there's veterans, female and male. They love to talk. And if you ask them about the wartime, well, that's
Well, you're there for an
then
hour.
you're there. Well, yeah.
That's okay.
And I am. Well, I had this one lady that I walked in just to change the battery, which was a 5-minute job. And I sat down, we started talking, and she started 1930, like her early years. And we just got going. And
Did
after
you get to the 70s?
almost after half an hour, we were about the 50s.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I have to go. She grabbed my arm and she said, you haven't heard my whole story. Well, there we went. That 5-minute job turned into an hour. And now we're up to about 2000. I said, I'm sorry, but I really have to go. I mean, my wife, there's dinner time. So that's the fun part about it.
Yeah. And I can imagine. So, but having the connection with the Philips Lifeline, they also have, as you mentioned, some people just check in, right? So they have that voice-to-voice contact every day.
we just actually got one installed in our home, and Reg was the installer, and it's such
only because you knew him, right?
only because I know him. But it's so nice that the user can now push a button, know how the system works, feel there's somebody there, and I can leave the home knowing that if I can't get back, that button's pushed, someone's there to assist. It's an incredible service. And Philips Lifeline, as far as Delta goes as a franchise, Philips Lifeline are so supportive with every aspect of the Lifeline unit, from the marketing and assisting with marketing the product and servicing the product and anything that we need as Delta Lifeline.
So you have a
Philips
famous
is there.
spokesperson now, right?
We do. Yeah, we have Betty White.
Yeah,
as
I
our
saw the
spokesperson.
ads on
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
And how old's Betty?
She's 94 now.
I can't believe it. She's
Yeah.
still got the best comic timing
Yeah.
of any actress. She just knows how to deliver a line.
Well, can you imagine? She hosted Saturday Night Live.
I know.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
It's incredible.
She's
Yeah.
been on every Tonight
See,
Show.
now all
Yeah.
the cool seniors want a Lifeline. They want to be like Betty White.
That's good to know. We are going to speak to some people who actually use the service coming up in just a moment. We're going to have John Knutson and Samantha Jones, who decided to take Philips Lifeline and integrate it into their life, and we'll find out why they did that. This is Boomer Life on CL 650. We'll be back right after this.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.